Some viewers got upset that I couldn't test the Rosewill PB240 AIO liquid cooler on an AMD Athlon 25-watt AM1 processor. Rosewill claimed AM1 socket compatibility on the box. That wasn't true. Without a compatible mounting bracket, I couldn't mount the cold plate on the AM1 socket. Since I don't have long hair like Steve at Gamer's Nessus, I can't get the Newegg owned company to admit their mistake.
So you can film all you want outside, and then no filming except for our conference room. So okay. No filming as you walk in.
Okay.
Is that cool?
We'll keep it pointed at the floor while we walk in.
Okay. No filming.
Since I can't test the AM1 processor with the AIO, I'm testing the AMD Athlon 3000G 35-watt AM4 processor. Does your AMD Athlon AM4 processor need an AIO? Before I deep dive into today's topic, I need to make a disclaimer. The Rosewill PB240 AIO liquid cooler is no longer available. I bought mine for $50 and tossed it into my junk box last summer. The Rosewill PB240 RGB AIO liquid cooler is currently available for $83 at Amazon. An affiliate link is in the description below. I expect the actual performance between the non-RGB and RGB versions of the AIO to be identical. The Rosewill PB240 AIO liquid cooler looks like every other AIO on the market. A cold plate attached with a pair of tubes and a pair of 120mm fans attached to the radiator. The only major difference is the pump built inside the radiator and not on top of the cold plate. I noticed a few issues while mounting the AIO on my test PC. The top tube elbow of the cold plate sits on top of a tall capacitor. Not a problem if the tubing is pointed straight up from the motherboard. If the tubing is angled to either side, the bottom of the elbow will rub against the capacitor. You could rotate the cold plate to have the tubing come out on the other side of the socket, if you don't mind the Rosewill logo being upside down. The tube is stiff and, depending on your case, mounting the radiator could be an issue. I'll be comparing the Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim 2 air cooler with the Rosewill PB240 AIO liquid cooler. My test PC has an AMD Athlon 3000G processor, 8GB of GCO 2666 MHz RAM, and an ASRock Pro 4 B450 AM4 ATX motherboard. I'm using the Arctic Silver 5 thermal paste. The Athlon 3000G processor will run stock speed at 3.5 GHz and overclock at 3.8 GHz. Fans are set to full speed in the BIOS to provide maximum cooling headroom. For each round of testing, the Cinebench R23 multiprocessor test runs 3 times on each cooler. I averaged the 3 high temperatures reported in HW info for each cooler for each round. The ambient room temperature while testing was 28 degrees Celsius. The first round had the Athlon 3000G running stock speed at 3.5 GHz. The Be Quiet air cooler had an average high temperature of 55 degrees Celsius. The Rosewill AIO had an average high temperature of 52 degrees Celsius. The AIO decreased the average high temperature by 3 degrees Celsius, or 6%. The second round had the Athlon 3000G overclock at 3.8 GHz. The Be Quiet air cooler had an average high temperature of 58 degrees Celsius. The Rosewill AIO had an average high temperature of 53 degrees Celsius. The AIO decreased the average high temperature by 5 degrees Celsius, or 9%. Does the Athlon 3000G processor need an AIO? The short answer is no. The 35-watt processor doesn't generate enough heat to justify using a 240mm AIO. If you must have an AIO for the Athlon, a 120mm AIO is all you need. Rosewill has the PB120 in both non-RGB and RGB versions. An affiliate link is in the description below. If you plan to upgrade the Athlon processor to a Ryzen processor in the future, installing a 240mm AIO wouldn't hurt. Should you get the RGB version of the Rosewill PB240 AIO. You might want to consider other AIOs and price points before getting the Rosewill AIO. I still prefer the Be Quiet Pure Loop AIO that I have in my editing PC. Of course, I'm a biased Be Quiet fanboy. Pun intended. That's it for today's show. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching.